4.6 GPA, a near perfect SAT score, acceptance letters, and scholarships from all the major universities. Your future is as bright as the stars. But then you go and you throw it all away. You tank your own future. How does something like that happen? Why? Welcome to the G-Spot, where we talk about true crime, actual criminal cases. I've been a criminal defense attorney for 29 years, and I got stories. So sit back, relax, and let me take you to my world. It's 2 a.m. on a warm spring night, 1 week before a high school graduation. The football field is empty. It's quiet, except for the crickets. Alex is standing next to the baseball equipment shed, and he's about to make the biggest mistake of his life. You see, Alex is that kid. The 4.6 GPA, the near perfect SAT score. He's the kid that everybody goes to when they can't make heads or tails of their homework, when they don't understand the material. He is that kid. He's tall, lanky, athletic, good-looking kid. Worked hard all his life, academically and physically, mowing lawns, delivering newspapers, volunteering at his church. Comes from a solid family. And yet, tonight, he's none of those things. Tonight, he's a lookout for his new friends. And those guys are busy inside the shed, fleecing it for anything of value. You see, Alex wanted to run with the cool kids, the popular kids. Why? Because these guys have access to parties, and more importantly, they have access to girls. You want to be one of us, they said? No problem. Be the lookout. And sell the stuff for us. And then you'll be one of us. And Alex agreed. Guess who his customer was? The very first one after he listed the stuff for sale. Yeah, you got it. He was an undercover cop. Alex got arrested. And when he was interrogated, he told the cops that it was all him. Nobody else was there. He acted alone. I'm not a rat, he told me later in my office. Well, regardless, he was charged with felony burglary. So what do I do with this kid? I had an idea. I was going to push for diversion. You see, when a case gets filed, it's on track to go to trial. You can settle it along the way, but if you don't, the case goes to trial. What I was doing, what I was planning to do, was to divert the case off this track, have Alex do community service, and then get the case dismissed like it never happened. I talked to my prosecutor. She agreed. She felt, as I did, that this was a case for it. You see, diversion is simple to do. It's just difficult. It's difficult in misdemeanor cases, much more difficult in felony. But she agreed. The only thing she wanted to do is to have the high school principal's blessing. So I reached out to him, met with a guy, great guy by the way, and he told me, look, I am not going to stand in the way of Alex's future. He's a good kid. Perfect. We had it all set up. We're gonna have diversion. The principal is on board. Fantastic. I walked into court, ready to finish the case. But my prosecutor wasn't there. Apparently, she was reassigned to a different division. And the new prosecutor literally laughed when I told her that I wanted to divert the case. Divert the case? Are you crazy? This kid stole a lot. No, he needs to plead to the felony burglary. I don't care the consequences. He should have thought of that before. So I pushed for a meeting with the supervisor. And this guy, as I'm telling him about Alex, what kind of kid he is, family he comes from, his goals, his aspirations. This guy is literally checking his watch. He looked at his watch, I think, 5 times. He couldn't have been more disinterested in what I was saying. I walked out of the meeting. The family's sitting outside. Alex's mom is nervously clutching her purse. His dad and his sister are literally shadows of themselves. Alex is sitting there, crushed, almost defeated by it all. Every time we come to court, I see his bright future dim just a little more. So how do I save this kid? What do I need to do? How do I make these people realize that this kid needs a break? How do I make them see this case the way I do? I set the case for a conference with the judge. He looked at me and the prosecutor and he said, "Why isn't this case settling?" Her response, "My supervisor wants a plea of guilty to felony burglary. And the defense doesn't want to comply." So the judge turned to me and he said, "Mr. Gorovich, what is your position on this case?" I said, "Judge, if ever there was a case ripe for diversion, this is it. This is the case. The reason diversion laws are on the books is because of cases like this. We have to give this kid another chance." When I walked out into the hallway, the family knew. They saw my smile. The mom ran up to me and gave me a hug. The sister too. Alex's dad came up to me and he shook my hand. He had tears in his eyes. He turned around and walked quickly away down the hallway so nobody could see him cry. Alex was completely overwhelmed. He sat on the bench, literally looking down at his hands, not really understanding what just happened. So I came up to him and I said, "Alex, what's the lesson here?" He looked at me and he said, "The lesson is simple. Think of the consequences before you act." I told him, "Yeah, you're right. What else?" He didn't know. So I told him, "The other lesson here is this. If you see an injustice about to happen, you don't ever back down. Ever. If you know that you are right, you know deep in your soul that you're right, you keep pushing. You never back down. And you know how hard you fight? You fight like that third monkey trying to get on Noah's Ark. And it's beginning to rain. That's how you fight." You know, it's been 6 months since we ended the case. And last week, Alex's mom sent me a text message. It's as if she knew I was going to record this video. I'd like to read that message to you. "Hi, just wanted to let you know, not a day goes by without thinking of you and my gratitude for fighting for my boy. I could never thank you enough for what you have done. You saved his future. This is why I do what I do. I don't do it for the money. I don't do it for any awards or accolades. I do it because of this. I do it because people deserve second chances. And I have the ability and the skill to provide that. That's why I do it. Next time, we'll talk about a heavyweight professional boxer that was in for a fight of his life. And he asked me for help. I'm Mr. G, and these are my stories.